Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to those in the past and the present, and those weird folks in the future. However, we all know they are not as weird as those in the past. Welcome in. We've got 3 teams down. Why not do a 4th team? Well, I did say I'd do 10 in a row, so there's no real reason for me to mention anything like that, so yeah. But anyway, welcome in. We have the first of our 3 new teams to look at today, and we're going with the Atomic Eagles, which is Nuclear Atom's team. Now, of course, with the new teams, they can't retain anyone because they didn't previously have a team. So what we do for the new teams coming in is that all teams that aren't playing, their players, and all players that haven't been retained from last year's or last season, they get to go into preliminary draft, and the new teams get to pick up some of them, up to 6, or as the rules may differ in the future, however many we decide can be retained, they can also pick up from the older players. So for example, I didn't select a few players, and I believe a few of them were snapped up. Surprisingly, there were a few that weren't, but anyway, let's go on. So teams like the Punishers, the Sheet Housers have been picked up a lot here by Nuclear Atoms. So there's no real way of knowing exactly who was retained, because I didn't really keep a list of that. So we're just going to go through the team pretty much from batsmen up to bowlers. And with batsmen, he's picked up a couple of big hitting batsmen from the Sheet Housers. Shubman Gill and Ben Stokes come in at 1 and 3, and I think Shubman Gill was a fantastic pick, consistently scoring at a strike rate of about 185. He had a fantastic tournament. Ben Stokes, however, on the other hand, struggled a bit with the ball, struggled a bit with the bat. So he's a bit of an interesting one. Maybe, just maybe, he'll look at moving him to 3, maybe even opening him, but I'm not sure. It's an easy one to really judge, because he had a good skiff, but he struggled in the skit, and I'll be intrigued to see what Nuclear does with him. At the other opener, we've got Martin Guptill, sorry. So I think that's a pretty good pick again, and another opener that's consistently, I think he won at 186 in the strike rate. So in terms of the 2 openers, you've got 2 big hitting right hand batsmen, which I think maybe could be split up maybe with a left hander. You've got Louis Rees in there, you've got Nicholas Pooran in there, you've got Ben Stokes, but either way, I think those 2 there need to be in the top 3 at least. Maybe just another left hander to separate the opening partnership and make it a bit awkward for the bowlers. Of course, Mamadullah was picked up by Nuclear. He's a big fan of Mamadullah, and I believe he'll come in around 4. He did have quite a decent tournament, albeit a very little time he had to bat. So 59 runs from 21 balls, which isn't too bad, and 132 on the strike rate. That's Ben Stokes, sorry, 280 on the strike rate. Quite clearly, I can't do my maths. And bowling, he picked up 5 wickets as well, which is another thing that maybe will come in handy. A good few all-rounders there in Stokes, Mamadullah, and Rees, and I think that could be maybe cause for them to potentially look at maybe like later down the order, Radri Smith maybe coming out for someone like Tom Bradburn. But a good all-rounder there that's performed in the skit already. It'd be interesting to see a full season under him, and in a captaincy role. I think this could be a season to remember. Mamadullah. We've got Sam Billings at 5, Louis Rees at 6, and Tom Sole at 7. Sam Billings is a man that hasn't really done too well. He's had quite a low strike rate. He's quite cheap on the market. Picked up 150 grand, and I feel like this could be a bit of a so-so pick. He hasn't really done anything too much, and I think you could be looking at maybe even having Tom Bradburn in and pushing him back a bit. If Sam Billings isn't performing, have that Scottish contingent there. That means you can get rid of Radri Smith for someone else on the bench. But he hasn't got too many English players. Then the only 2 domestic-based players on the bench are both Scottish. So that's something maybe I think he may need to look at in future drafts. But for me, I think the top 4 is looking strong. I think you've got Pooran as well, who again didn't have the best of strike rates, but we know he knows how to score runs. And Shoaib Malik as well, a man who didn't really bat at all for JW, just bowled. Didn't bowl too well, but they could come in, and again, all-rounders, they're doing all right in. Stokes, Mamadullah, Rees, Sole, Malik. I mean, there's a lot to choose from there. In terms of Tom Sole, well, he hasn't batted much in the skiff or the skits, in fact at all, I don't think. But for me, the really big thing to note here with Tom Sowell is that he gets wickets and he keeps the economy low, and that is rare. Normally it is one or the other, and he's an economy of just below 8, which is phenomenal considering he's Scottish as well. 8 wickets picked up as well, same as Dale Steyn behind him, same as Stephen Finn behind him. So there's a lot. We've spoken about teams maybe going for keeping the economy low. I like to offer him rejects. This is a bold and this is a aggressive move with the markets that I think Nuclear has taken up. He's gone for wicket-taking bowlers. I don't think he cares what they score. I think he wants to get the big batsmen out. He sees a top order, strong top order of 5. He wants them out and early. Doesn't matter if they score runs, 6 out. He wants them gone. He wants to start attacking that tail as early as possible. Potentially, he's even looking at bowling teams out, which is an aggressive, bold, but also quite a exciting play. And Tom Sowell is the only man there that I think can really keep the economy down, barring, of course, as we move into the bowlers, Sandeep Lemishane. I think that's a fantastic pick. I was a bit stunned that he wasn't picked up by Joel, but of course, Joel having quite a few form players, a lot of his team rose up in price, which is one of the key things. If you have a good tournament, a lot of your players potentially will rise up in price as they get better. And Sandeep Lemishane came in at 200, now 350. It's a good pickup from Nuclear. 8 wickets, 7.56. They've got 2 good spinners there. They've got an accurate fast bowler in Dale Steyn. As well as that, you've got Stephen Finn. You've got Radri Smith. Wowzers. There's a good bowling attack there. Good variety there. On the bench as well, you've also got Shoaib Malik for another bit of spin. You've got Scott Cameron for another bit of pace. I think in bowling options, they haven't really got too much differentiation. The only real sort of out there bowler is the left arm medium of Lewis Reese, the only left arm medium I believe in the entire tournament. But there's wicket taking bowlers in there. Stephen Finn yet to play in the SCITT. He came in as a new pick this time round, and I think he could be an aggressive bowler coming in tall, slamming the ball down. That'll be good to see. Radri Smith as well has struggled really to get game time and get a team actually in the SCITT, so it's nice to see him picked up now. He has struggled in the test side and will be looking to try and maybe force his way back in the short formats, and this is an ideal opportunity to do it in the SCITT. Of course, we've gone over the bench a bit. Tom Bradburn could potentially come in for Radri Smith, maybe even for Sam Billings or Tom Sowell or anyone really that aren't performing. And maybe if you bring him in for Radri Smith, bearing in mind you've already got 4 bowlers there in Sowell, Steyn, Finn and Lemishane. You've already got Lewis Reese, Mamadullah and Stokes to sort of share the other 2. I think this is a really, really good varied attack in terms of bowling. They've got, it could mean that they extend the batting line up a bit. You get Pooran in there maybe, who knows. But for me, it's a strong team. It's a really strong looking team. Maybe there'll be high scoring games because they haven't really got too many bowlers that focus so much on the economy. I mean, 7.5 is the lowest, but 10.5 is the highest. So they've got no one really that's getting obliterated, but they've got people that are going for maybe a few too many runs and getting wickets. I think that is a recipe for excitement. But in my time, this is going to be a suck it and see type of scenario. I think this is a team that will have some games where they wipe the floor of opponents and have some teams where they are wiped the floor with. Does that make sense? No? Anyway, there we go. That's my view on this team. There are some really good picks in there from Nuclear. There are some picks that potentially gone under the radar, like Sandeep Lemishane, like Mamadullah, and potentially even, I feel, a bit like Martin Guptill. I don't think he had too many eyes on him. Came from the Pies. He went from 200 to 300s, and I think that's another pick that potentially looking at player of the team there. But there we go. Let me know your thoughts on this team down below and who you want to see next, because I'll listen to it and I won't act on it because we've already got a set 10 that we're going to do. In fact, tomorrow I might change it around just for me. I might put me next. Was that the plan? Anyway, you'll never know. So, have I changed the plan? Who's to say? Who's to say? Anyway, cheers all for watching. Same time, all the way through next week. Until Saturday, when we've done 10 teams. And we do something different on Sunday. There we go. Cheers all for watching. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. I'll see you all in the next video. Keep happy and smile.